I don't think I think Tank will sign that contract. Dang. And I'm going to sign a contract too. So
they gonna get it on.
Yeah.
They throw shots, but they say so. Like he throw shots and then want to be buddy. You know what I mean? And I feel as though that's don't be like that. If you like that, then stand on that.
I can't think that way because I believe Tank signed that contract, damn, and I'm going to sign one too. So you get it on. They say that he throws shots and then wants to be friends with you, buddy. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the case. If you like that, then stand on that, Dan Devin.
We know that. Come on,
Davis
bro.
is willing to face Shakur Stevenson on one harsh stipulation. Tank Gant at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas on June 16th. WBA lightweight champion Davis solidified his place among boxing's top fighters with a spectacular 7th-round knockout of Frank Martin. This was Davis's 5th successful title defense since he won the vacant title.
And the whole Loma thing wasn't his fault. Loma's the one that backed out of it and said he was going to take some time away. So that's not necessarily on Tank. Regardless if we're talking resumes or not, I think the one thing that Tank has over Shakur is he's actually entertaining to watch. He is a pay-per-view fighter. He does sell pay-per-view fights. Like, people want to see Tank fight. He's exciting. I don't think Shakur or Stevenson has that under his belt.
By defeating New York's Gambo in December 2019, Davis now has a flawless record of 30 with an amazing 28 knockout victories. Davis has made a name for himself in the lightweight division as a formidable fighter and knockout artist, and the entire LMA situation wasn't his fault. He backed out and stated that he would take some time off, so that's not necessarily on Tank. Regardless of whether we're discussing resumes or not, I believe that Tank has one advantage over Shakur. He is a pay-per-view fighter who does sell. People want to see Tank battles because they're entertaining.
And he'll be 31 time of his retirement. Like, I'm not buying that. I do think there's some truth to what he's saying in terms of, like, I buy that he wants to just step away. There's a lot of fights we're potentially missing out on. And today, this is noteworthy, but he dismissed Shakur Stevenson as somebody who's accomplished nothing in boxing. Their resumes they're not like terribly far apart in terms of quality of opposition, things of that nature. Like, Tank's been in our lives a lot longer, but Shakur Stevenson rose to prominence very quickly. And I think, like, that's a...
But I don't think Shakur Stevenson has done that yet. As Davis prepares for his next bout, the stakes are bigger than ever because the lightweight category is full of talented fighters and Davis has a lot of rivals. The most notable of these is Shakur Stevenson, the current WBC lightweight champion and silver medalist from the 2016 Olympics. A battle between the two would be a collision of styles as well as a unifying match. The crushing might of Davis versus Stevenson's defense, the public exchanges between the two boxers have increased the possible fight's brilliance and stoked spectators' interest. Additionally, he will be retiring in 31 years. While I don't believe that, I do believe that there is some truth to his statement that he wants to simply step aside because there are many fights that we might be missing out on. And today this is significant. He dismissed Shakur Stevenson as someone who hasn't accomplished anything in boxing. Their resumes aren't that dissimilar in terms of the caliber of opposition and such.
Me and Tank, it's the biggest fight in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens. I could see it happening not too far in the future.
Really?
I think Tank will sign that contract.
Dang.
And I'm going to sign a contract too, so
they gonna get it.
Whereas Tank has been in our lives for a lot longer. Became well known pretty fast, and I believe that's a miss beyond Stevenson. Other intriguing opponents for Davis include William Zappa, an unbeaten rising star from Mexico, and Tiamo Lopez, the WBO junior welterweight champion. Although each of these bouts has difficulties, Stevenson stands out as the most important in terms of the legacy it would create and the audience excitement it would create. As the champion, Shakur Stevenson is a crucial challenge for Gervonta Davis. A 2016 Olympic silver medalist, Stevenson is unbeaten and considered to be among the most technically proficient boxers in the sport today. He has risen up the ranks of the professional ranks with precision, using his keen defensive abilities and remarkable ring IQ to neutralize his opponents. Since his approach is so different from Davis's, a possible battle between the two might be an exciting tactical chess match. Stevenson has not hesitated to publicly challenge Davis and make it apparent that he thinks he has what it takes to win. It's going to be the biggest boxing match in the world, and I can see it happening not too long from now. I don't think Tanker signed that contract, and I'm going to sign one too, so I'm going to get it on. A unification fight between Davis and Stevenson would not only garner a lot of attention, but it would also elevate both fighters' careers. For Davis, defeating Stevenson would silence critics who claim that he hasn't consistently faced elite-level opponents, while Stevenson's
Haney in
victory
the
would
audio.
establish him as
It's
the
a
undisputed king in the lightweight division, adding an unexpected twist to the story. Gervonta, with his recent declaration that he intends to retire from the sport after 3 more fights in 2025, Davis has left fans and observers wondering why he made the move. Some people see it as a negotiating strategy. The tone of Davis's remarks suggested dissatisfaction with the boxing world, or perhaps with the demands of keeping him at the top. His undefeated record and knockout-heavy career have made him a star, but the pressure to consistently perform against elite competition can take its toll. However, some see it as a sincere indication of Davis's plans to leave the sport on his own terms. If Davis follows through on his retirement plans, it could have a significant impact on his legacy. His accomplishments to date are impressive, but stepping away without facing Shakur Stevenson or other elite opponents like Teofimo Lopez could raise questions about how he would have fared against the best of his era. Fans are excited about the prospect of Davis versus Stevenson, but retirement would deprive them of potential marquee matchups, especially the highly anticipated clash with Stevenson. There are several obstacles in the way of getting into the fight. A rehydration clause, which Davis may demand to limit Stevenson's weight gain after the weigh-in, is one potential sticking point, according to reports that Davis has attached a brutal condition to the fight. These clauses are common in boxing, but are controversial because they can affect the fighter's performance and jeopardize their health. Alternatively, Davis may demand a larger share of the purse, citing his established status as a pay-per-view draw. These negotiations are frequently contentious and could cause the fight to be postponed or even be called off, because the fighter's unbeaten records and championship statuses are what make this battle commercially appealing. Any dispute over the terms could deprive fans of a contest that could define an era in the lightweight division. In the Davis-Stevenson story, another wrinkle is Shakur Stevenson said that a one-fight deal was rejected in favor of a multi-fight pact. Although multi-fight agreements might provide stability and financial security, they can also complicate talks, especially when working with a star like Davis who has substantial leverage. This development, which was disclosed by Steven Espinoza, calls into question Stevenson's strategy for landing high-profile fights. In response to Stevenson's requests, Davis has dismissed them, saying that Stevenson is not worthy and that he needs more experience before facing a fighter of Davis' ability. Davis's remarks imply that despite having a world title, Stevenson has not yet demonstrated his abilities at the greatest level. This contemptuous demeanor may be a ploy to gain leverage in negotiations, but it also runs the danger of offending fight-loving fans. For his part, Stevenson probably views a multi-fight agreement as a means of achieving his long-term professional objectives, which include fights against other well-known opponents. However, this approach could backfire if it prevents or postpones his chances of fighting Davis, a match that would surely define his career.
You and Shakur had some back and forth going. I'm talking about some serious back. This is the first time I ever seen Tank listen, this might have been the first time I seen my Tank from Baltimore come out. Nigga said, "What up, Buzzball, niggas?"
Cause it's like I wasn't really on no like speaking on other people's name type stuff, you know
right?
And a lot of people, they
Tank Davis recently expressed his annoyance at what he perceives to be Shakur Stevenson's insistent actions.
And when
he criticized Stevenson for acting boldly online but acting differently in person, citing an incident where Stevenson allegedly went to Davis's locker room to take a picture after making harsh remarks on Twitter. Stevenson's public persona, especially on social media, doesn't match his behavior in private. "Don't be like that," Davis said. "If you are, then stand by it. Don't attempt to post all of this on Twitter and then rush to my locker room to snap a photo." His remarks draw attention to what appears to be Stevens' lack of authenticity, implying that Davis wants greater coherence between his words and deeds. Additionally, Davis questioned Stevenson's motivations for a possible battle, asserting that despite his public declarations, Stevenson will not engage in combat with him. This exacerbates the two parties' existing hostility for Davis. This seems to be about more than just the fight, it's about integrity and keeping one's word. Davis seems to be daring Stevenson to demonstrate his sincerity by entering the ring. I'm talking about some major back issues, and you and Shakur had some back and forth. This is the first time I've ever seen Take, and I think it may have been the first time I've ever seen my Tank from Baltimore come out __.
Like I said, I can't sit here and
"What's up, Buzz and
tell
Cuz?"
y'all excuses
because I wasn't really on
like
talking about other
But
people's
what
names or anything like that.
happened
And
and how
many
hurt he
people
was-
think that the verbal exchanges between Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson have heightened the already heated boxing scene. Most recently, Davis took a jab at Stevenson, asking him what Shakur had done and what he had accomplished in sports. These remarks highlight the growing hostility between two of the best fighters in boxing.
You see you Shakur before you go?
Waiting my return.
For what? Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him. The Keyshawn looking way more better than this nigga. So I keep screaming this nigga name. He haven't done nothing. Keyshawn haven't even done nothing.
So what do you say to those who might be afraid?
His name for?
So what do you say to those
who are each leaving their mark in the lightweight class? In a confident response to Tank's comments, Shakur Stevenson has affirmed his abilities and achievements and indicated interest in a future clash. Stevenson is renowned for his deft defensive skills and strategic, while Davis's remarks show his sense of
10 fights in, like you really wasn't
superiority. Supported by his status as a knockout artist with a sizable fan base, acumen appears unconcerned by the criticism. The competitive character of the sport is reflected in this exchange, which goes beyond egos. Both fighters have sizable fan bases, and a possible contest would be a huge boxing event.
5 contemporaries have a lot to say these days. Shakur Stevenson, well, of course, he's now 135 after all that stuff, and then Devin Haney.
Right, so why people even talk like he the best at, he didn't even fight at 135 yet.
Right.
He didn't even have power at 126, 30 or none of that.
He is good.
Okay. How can you, all that's just okay. How can you stop people that can actually hit? No matter all that boxing, you gonna get hit. What you gonna do when you get?
Since Stevenson recently switched to lightweight, where Davis reigns as among the best fighters, a future bout between the two seems more likely.
Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him.
Who that?
The Keyshawn looking way more better than this. I keep screaming this name. He haven't done nothing. Keyshawn haven't even done nothing.
So what do you say to those who might be
saying his name
afraid?
for?
So what do you say to those who might be saying that, you know, Tank is afraid of Shakur?
Afraid of what? Afraid of what? Us fighters, if we're afraid of somebody, it gotta be somebody hitting us and hurting us. Like, he don't throw